All right. Let's see who's all going to get in here. Welcome on in, everybody. Come on in. I'm still just sending out the tweet here, letting everybody know I'm going to be live watching the weigh-ins as we're doing this. What's up? What's up? We got a couple of people in here already. Welcome to the show. All right. Welcome in, everybody. I see we got a couple of people joining in here. So welcome to the first ever impromptu live stream for the Die Hard MMA podcast. This is live. There is going to be no editing. So if I goof up and say something stupid, y'all are about to hear it. Feel free to jump in the chat, hit me up, let me know if there's any audio issues or anything like that. I feel like I've got everything set up and good to go here. So the audio looks like it's registering. Everything's good to go. I'm watching the weigh-ins. First things first, I want to let you guys know Morono is not as much, he's not as big of a height disadvantage as I expected him to be. He's actually pretty big compared to Chaos, the Ox Fighter. Boogie, what's up, buddy? That's right. Fuck it. We'll do it live. So, as most of you, I would expect probably to know and understand, we are dealing with UFC copyrighted information here. So, don't jump in here expecting me to show off all the footage or anything like that, because that is a real quick way for me to get banned off of YouTube. I do not want that to happen. But what I'm planning on doing is I'm jumping on UFC Fight Pass. I do have a Fight Pass membership, and that's where I do the most of my research here. I did already give my breakdown for Trevon Giles, so you all kind of understand where I'm sitting with him, what I think about him, his abilities and stuff like that. We didn't break down Krause that long ago. It was just back in November when he fought Sergio Moraes, and if I recall correctly, we had him inside the distance. We took him inside the distance and cashed nicely with Krause getting that third round KO of Sergio Moraes. Now, we got to remember, Sergio Moraes is a completely shot fighter. We know that, okay? So we can't look too far into that. However, his fights with Alex White, Warley Alves, those are the ones that I'm kind of going to take a look at. So I'm going to take my best shot here, I guess, at doing my Joe Rogan impression, and I will walk you guys through the action as I'm watching it here. If you have a Fight Pass membership yourself, I'll kind of let you know the timestamps. I'm starting Alex White versus James Krause right now, and I'm going to kind of jump around and watch the fight as it goes through and kind of let you all know what I'm seeing, what I'm viewing, you know, what I like, what I don't like, and do some research on the guy here live for you all. So if you have any questions or anything like that, go ahead and hit me in the chat. Press that like button, share the stream if you wouldn't mind. That'd be awesome as well. This one's going to be a little weird because, like I said, unfortunately, I can't show you the video. It's UFC copyright stuff. But I did want to come and kind of hang out with you guys and chat a little bit and bring you what I can. Plus, I've got a feeling that we might have a half-decent betting opportunity here with James Krause filling in like this on late notice. I think this is something we may be able to take advantage of. I'm curious what the books are going to open these lines up at. So I'm going to pull SBR odds up while I'm at this and see when that happens. I mean, the fight did just get announced, so I don't expect anybody to just fly out there and put a line up. They might not even get that up until tomorrow. But here we go. So James Krause, he is looking across the octagon at our guy Alex White here. Let me pull up his page here. So just kind of a refresher, James Krause, high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. That is something that I do like to see. Primarily, he's going to be a smaller guy, though. That's kind of the thing to keep in mind here. He fights at lightweight more often than not. He has gone to welterweight before, but he's moving all the way up to 185. So he is going to be a decent bit smaller than Trevon Giles. And I am rewinding the weigh-in video here as well. I've got like 3 or 4 windows open here, so I apologize. I'm a little all over the place. I've got the weigh-ins going on here. I want to see how he sizes up to Trevon Giles while I'm waiting for this fight to load. Okay, so he's actually bigger than Trevon Giles. Wow. He's got about a half a head on Trevon Giles. He's a bit slimmer, so that's something to keep in mind. He is a bit skinnier than Trevon Giles is. Not that that makes too big of a difference, but it's good to know he's not going to be severely undersized or anything like that. Looks like he cuts a decent amount of weight. All right, so here we go. I'm at 4 minutes and 10 seconds now in the Krause and White fight. Krause is kind of getting in the clinch there. White hit him in the gut with some good knees. He steps back. He's winging hooks. One thing I like about Krause is he's always got his guard up. He's got his left up, and he's kind of pawing forward with it for the jab, and he keeps his right side up nice and high. Trevon Giles is kind of a blitzy fighter, really fast, likes to dart in and land big shots and stuff like that. So that'll be something we're going to have to keep an eye on what Krause does in that kind of a situation. He's in here going for a takedown. He hooks the leg, so he's trying to use the cage and use kind of a trip to get White to the mat, but he seems to be struggling with him. He's having a hard time getting him down. He's got the underhook. He's got the body lock. Really looking for an opportunity to get this fight to the mat. And really, I think that's going to be where the bread and butter is for Krause in this fight, because we kind of talked about the fact that Trevon Giles has a tendency to shit the bed when he gets tired. He gasses out, he gets frustrated, he has a difficult time, and then he gives up the choke. That's been the tale of his last 3 fights. Wow, Krause is really struggling to get White to the mat here, though. And that's something that I do find concerning. Considering he's going to be coming in on late notice, he does eventually get it, 2 minutes and 55 seconds. He gets the takedown. Now he's going to just kind of settle in on top of James White. So he did not give up on that takedown attempt. It took him about 30, 40 seconds of solid grappling and holding on to that body lock to get him to the mat. This is one where I've got a sneaky sensation or a sneaky feeling that that's kind of how the fight might end up going with Trevon Giles, because Giles comes out like a bat out of hell, and he looked good at the weigh-ins. That was something I tweeted out earlier, that the closer this fight got, the more I wanted to bet Giles against Arroyo, because he really came in shape for this one. It was what I was talking about on the podcast. This is his last shot. He's off of 2 losses right now, both of them bed-shitting, embarrassing losses. So I really think that he's going to be coming out here trying to put a staple on this thing. He really wants to look good. He really wants to save his job, stay in the UFC organization. That's what we're going to see, or what we can expect to see from Trevon Giles. This James Krause being thrown in here last second, though, that's going to be something interesting for him to overcome. So Krause is settled in this James White fight here. He is on top. He's controlling from side control. He's not really doing much as far as landing ground and pound or anything like that, but he did drag him away from the cage, and he's just slowly advancing his position. He has hit him in the face a couple of times. He's got a good step up with his knee to keep White's hips elevated, so he can't do anything to escape. He's got good head control. He keeps kind of shifting from behind the head to over the shoulder, making sure he pins White down. I'm going to go ahead and skip forward here a little bit if you're following along with me, because if memory serves, he rides the round out here. Yeah, there we go. So White ends the round on his back, and we're going to skip ahead to round 2. I'm now at 4 minutes and 40 seconds of the second round. And this is kind of fun for those of you who have stuck with me. I know we peaked up at 7 viewers, and now we're down to 3. I'm hoping some people will maybe come in and check this out a little bit later and kind of get a view into my process here. And this is what I do. I like to pull up Tapology and SureDog, and then I like to pull up Fight Pass. I'll jump on Wikipedia to find out some, background information on these guys if it's stuff that I don't have immediately on top of my brain. There's a whole lot of fighters, and especially with the UFC dropping fighters and getting new ones constantly, it is hard to keep up with that. So Krause and White are striking at range here. It's good step in. He rips the body there with a right. he kind of steps back. He's got, oh, you know what? He's got kind of tall man defense, though. He's stepping back. He's keeping his chin up in the air, relying on head movement. Ooh, good precision overhand right by James Krause. He circles out, takes the middle of the cage. That is something I like to see. Even though he's under duress, even though he's under fire, and he's struggling with the range of White, he steps out, he circles, and he takes the center of the octagon, putting White up against the back. Now, he is kind of doing this thing. He's fading away as those strikes from White are coming, and he's eating some shots. So a guy that's tall and rangy and lanky like White, able to land on Krause, we can kind of equate that to Trevon Giles. Trevon Giles is tall and long like that. He does have a good rangy striking ability. But as I talked about on the podcast, Trevon Giles has a real hard time with his IQ. I mean, that last fight for him was gift wrapped. Gerald Meerschaert was the perfect opponent for Trevon Giles, and he just absolutely shit the bed with that one. He had no no fight IQ whatsoever to keep that fight standing, where it was totally in his world. MMA Casual, what's up? Thank you for joining the live stream. I appreciate it. All right, so we're at 2 minutes and 37 seconds here of this Krause and White fight, and Krause has once again hit a takedown, got White on his back. He's in top control, defending well, controlling the back of the neck and the hands, pinned him up against the fence. Yeah, I saw that, Casual. Krause is taller than Giles, and I was watching the weigh-ins. I wanted to see him at the weigh-ins. They were just doing the live stream of tomorrow's weigh-ins, and I checked that out because I wanted to see how he matched up. He's a little slimmer than Trevon Giles is, which you'd expect. I mean, normally he fights at 155, and Giles is a 185er, so he cuts a lot of weight to get down there. You'd expect him to be a little slimmer, but he definitely is taller. He's got the range. He's lanky, so no size disadvantage necessarily there. Audio, what's up? Moise Audio, thank you for joining the live stream. How you doing? All right, so Krause and White are still kind of scrambling here. White's put himself in this awkward upside down position, and Krause has taken the opportunity to land some elbows. We're in round 2 of the Krause versus White fight. If you want to join me on Fight Pass, I wish there was something that we could do. If I could do like a UFC movie night or something like that. I know it's copyrighted material and they'd never let me do that, but I would love to do like a live stream where I could actually put the old Fight Pass fight up behind me and then hang out with you guys and talk through it so everyone can see what I'm seeing at the same time. But like I said, just don't want to get banned off of YouTube for this. So White's kind of opening up, trying to kick away, make some space. He actually gets up for a second, shoots a double, and Krause grabs a neck. He looks for the guillotine right away, but nothing doing there. He's not going to be able to hit that thing. They're fighting up against the cage, and Krause manages to get back on top and puts White on his back to end round 2. So they're showing some replays here that I like that they're showing these ones to kind of remind us. Krause has ended in top position both rounds of the fight so far. He's been able to take White down, put him on the mat, and had no problem handling him so far in the grappling. It seems like that was his idea here in this fight. Let me pull up Alex White. I know this fight was a little bit old, but I always like to go back 2 or 3 fights. That's something I prefer to get some distance on. I like to have more than just the last fight or 2. So White has had a up and down experience in the UFC. After the Krause fight, he lost to Jim Miller. Then he beat Dan Moret, who is a grappler also, if memory serves correctly. Krause gets rocked. White comes out in round 3, firing, rocks him, and Krause has to dive on a single leg, immediately pins him back up against the fence. And then he loses to Rafael Fiziev. Okay, so Alex White is not really the shining standard of opposition here. Krause is 33 years old, for those of you just jumping in. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts. Hey, what's up, Nick Alexander? Thank you for joining the live stream. So for those of you just jumping in, may not know, may not have seen on Twitter, Arroyo, I guess he passed out and they had to take him to the hospital. So that fight has been called off, and James Krause, the James Krause, has stepped up like a complete badass and took this fight on 1 day's notice. 155er stepping up to fight at 185 and take on Trevon Giles, so that fight does not get pulled from the card. You got to wonder how much they're paying this guy, because this card kind of fell apart. They've lost a lot of fights on this card. They've lost a ton of fights on this card, so I'm sure they are very grateful for James Krause, and he is probably getting a little something extra in his stocking from Uncle Santa. Dana White in this one. So James Krause, like I said before, he's on. I didn't say this before. Sorry. Like I said, we're live here, so there's no editing. If I fuck up, you all are going to hear it. He's on a 6-fight win streak right now. Darren Cruikshank, Shane Campbell, Tom Galecchio, Alex White, Warley Alves, Sergio Moraes. So we're back to grappling here in round 3. And James Krause does look to be waning just a little bit. White has kind of taken over the grappling, mostly up against the fence. I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit. They get out to open space, and Krause immediately goes back in for the takedown, grabs a leg, and tries to pin him up against the cage. They hit the mat one more time. I'm just kind of skipping ahead here. Okay, I think I'm done with this one. I've seen enough. That was a pretty dominating decision there from Krause, but he did not look like he was enjoying himself on the feet. Nick, what's up, my guy? Welcome into the chat. That's right, I'm live. We're breaking down the late replacement fight, Trevon Giles versus James Krause. And I am jumping on to Warley Alves versus James Krause, August 25th of 2018. So he's only fought once so far since this one. He only fought one time in 2019, and that was the knockout win over Sergio Moraes, which, to those of you jumping in late, we cashed on. If you recall, we had my guy James Krause by KO, and he landed that in the 3rd round. I was starting to sweat that it wasn't actually going to happen, and then he binked it with with less than a minute left on the clock. Sergio gassed out. All right. All right, casual. So you know what's up then. You know what's up. Yeah, Nick, he does. He messes Warley up, but I gotta do my tape study, dude. I gotta, be diligent over here. So we're getting started. They come out and they clap hands. Warley Alves. Now, this is a guy I do recall talking about before. He's a show up and don't show up type of fighter. If he shows up, he's an absolute world beater. He's a monster. But if he takes the day off, he can be beat by just about anybody. So he can't seem to put win streaks together. Ooh, beautiful reversal. So they clinch up. I'm going to rewind that actually and go back just a little bit. So the fight starts. Alves comes out aggressive as always. James throws a head kick and gets stuffed. He dives on a leg, and Alves is on top. And Krause pulls this beautiful reversal, rolls back, kicks the leg out, uses his butterfly hook to extend and get right back up to his feet. Excellent defense when it comes to the scrambling on the ground. Catches a kick, grabs the leg, pins Alves up against the fence. Okay, so this is the MO, it sounds like, for Krause. He understands that he wants these bigger, stronger guys pinned up against the fence. I'm going to go ahead and catch up on the chat here. No, Nick, you're not backwards. He does eventually mess him up. He wins by KO in round 2, but I got to see how he gets there. I got to see what happens until then. You're right, casual. If I do recall correctly, Alves gasses at some point here. Giles losing in round 3. Okay, Giles losing in round 3 twice, says he's probably struggles as the fight goes on. Yes, I would completely agree with that statement. Plus, like I said, we've seen him struggle against guys that he grapples with. And James Krause, looking at what I'm seeing here, he forces the grappling. Everything that he's done so far in these fights that I'm watching, he forces the grappling. So he's diving in on single legs. He's grabbing underhooks. He's always fishing for underhooks, even in these clinch situations. And he reverses big guys like Alves very, very easily. He has no problem roughing these big guys up against the fence. Let me find James Krause on Tapology. I want to say that this fight might have taken place at a higher weight class. Am I talking out of my ass right now? I might be. That's the one right there. Okay, so this one was at 170. Yeah, that's what I thought. James Krause fought Warley Alves at 170. And then he also fought Sergio Moraes at 170. Then he grappled with King Mo, it looks like. And I apologize if you hear some barking and stuff in the background. My wife's coming home with my daughter, and we got a couple of dogs, so sorry. Impromptu live stream. Told y'all. Welcome in, everybody. Let me see here. So we've got 8 people now. That's an all-time high. Very nice. Welcome to the show. Let me get caught up here on the chat. I'm keeping an eye here on this fight. They're just kind of standing and pecking in the middle. James Krause has really good head movement. He likes to stay at range. He throws these long, winding hooks. That's gonna be something that his chin might be open for Trevon Giles in that spot. Giles fast hands. He's got really quick hands. Let me see here. Oh yeah, thanks, Nick. I'm not used to being live, so if I'm on a 40-second chat delay, some of you might have to take a minute here. Sorry if I'm holding everything up. I apologize. I should jump on the lounge later. Maybe so. Maybe so. My parents are coming into town this weekend, man. So I might not be able to. We got to finish getting the house ready for them. I just, with this last minute fight like this, I got to jump on. We might have a good betting opportunity. If the books open this lineup wrong, we might have to pounce on this thing. So I had to do this video review here real quick. Krause is probably around 185 out of camp, I would say. You know what, Casual? I would agree with that. I would expect Krause probably walks around maybe 190 even, something like that. He probably didn't have to cut a whole lot of weight. Ooh, good step in knee. So they're at striking range, kind of in the middle of the cage, and he just steps up and banks Alves with a knee. It didn't land hard, but dude's flexible. He can get his knee up there. He's got really precise striking, I'm noticing. Alves is definitely slowing down here at the end of the first round. He's throwing body kicks. Krause is tanking it like a champ, and he just comes back, and every single punch is precision. Bank, 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 right on the chin. Good uppercut. They clinch again. So Krause is definitely going to have a grappling heavy type of game plan here, but he's not going to have any problem in the striking. What is up? Cream on her. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the chat. He weighed 183.5 just now. Thank you very much, Nick. Thank you for letting me know he weighed 183.5. So, maybe he didn't cut weight at all. Maybe he did just step in there around 180 and 185. So he's going to be at a significant size advantage. And I think that's the thing that's kind of bothering me here. I would say that Krause is probably the more skilled of the two fighters. Trevon Giles, he really relies on his athleticism, his speed, his advantage over people like that. And with Krause coming in, not cutting weight, no training camp. I mean, he's not going to have any gas tank issues except for the fact that he hasn't trained for a fight. So it's one of those weird catch-22 situations where you're like, okay, so he didn't have a big weight cut, so you'd expect him to have more gas, but he also didn't have a training camp. So he's probably not going to have much gas from that either. I'm not sure who's going to gas out on this thing. James Lake, what's going on? Welcome to the chat. Thank you very much for the information. Oh, yeah. Cream on her. You're totally right. If they disrespect Krause here, I'm hammering him as a dog. 100%. I'm expecting this line to open somewhere about a pick 'em, maybe having Trevon Giles as a slight favorite. So we may want to sit tight and let some public money come in on Giles. Nobody's going to bet the short notice kid. No one's going to bet Krause coming in on 1 day's notice, coming up a weight class, and expect him to beat a guy like Trevon Giles. Again, I've got a little bit of hesitation because Giles' back is against the wall. This is a bit of a crazy situation. He came in really good shape, and he is a big 185er. So the size disparity here is going to be decent when it comes to the strength. And if Krause cannot hold it together, if he has a hard time with the cardio, he might be suspect. And that's where we want Trevon Giles to be suspect later. We want Giles to be the one that gasses out in the third round. But he did also come in here, Trevon Giles that is, he came in thinking he was going to get a striker. He was facing Arroyo, who we know about his kicks, and he does have a BJJ game, but he's got no wrestling whatsoever. So he came in here expecting someone who is going to stand and bang with him. There is no way that Krause is going to follow that game plan. You know what? I'm sorry, guys. I keep looking off to the side here. You might think it's weird. My camera is here, but I got a second monitor up over here, and this is where I've got the chat. So I'm monitoring everything you guys are saying over here. So I know here it looks like I'm looking at you, but I can't read what you're writing if I'm doing this. So I keep looking off. All right, let me see here. I reckon Krause will be about plus 200. It would be a good look, James. Plus 200 would be the kind of price that we would like to have on Krause here. Nick, yes, Giles is grapple heavy, but that's where I feel like he made a mistake. Against Zach Cummings, who's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, against Gerald Meerschaert, whose only chance in that fight was grappling. He should have used his striking ability. The dude played football when he was in high school and college, I want to say. So he's not a wrestler by trade. He's just an athlete. So he may have picked up wrestling and grappling, and he did a fine job controlling both of those guys until he got tired. And then in round 3, he left plenty of openings. He got clipped by Zach Cummings, rocked, and then that's what led to the submission. And then against Meerschaert, he just decided to continue grappling when he got tired. You can't do that with a guy that's got a high-level BJJ skill set like Meerschaert. And that's kind of what we're dealing with Krause here. He's got a very serviceable striking skill set, and he does everything he can to wear you out. Look, I mean, I'm at 3 minutes and 25 seconds here in the Alves fight, and he is pinning him up against the fence. Every opportunity he gets, he's getting underhooks, driving him to the cage, peppering him with shots. He's not putting anything really on the shots. He's got a good long right cross, but he just jabs, and then he's got this step-in uppercut hook that he rips the body with. It seems like Krause's whole game plan is centered around I kind of love that against Trevon Giles, honestly. It's the perfect game plan for a guy that makes mistakes when he's tired. Catch up on the chat here. Giles gets takes down in all of his fights. Can he hold Krause down? That's the question. Casual, that is the question. I don't know. I don't know if he can. He did okay holding down Cummins and Mearshart. Okay, there's the flurry there by Krause. He got caught off guard. I think he got caught off guard by the striking of Zach Cummings. And then against Mearshart, it was a grappling heavy game plan to start for both guys. So yeah, I mean, he has been landing takedowns. He dove for the takedown. But once again, with this fighter, with James Krause, he's stepping right into James Krause's world. James Krause is not, a scrub by any means on the feet. And then on the ground, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I think he's going to be a game fighter here, basically anywhere this thing goes. Should have stayed awake. Should have been good athlete. Yep. Nick, you're right. Am I the only one who truly believes Reyes has a shot here? Cream on her? Yeah, you might be, man. You might be. John Jones is pulling a... who am I thinking of? Mayweather. John Jones is pulling a Mayweather here when he's taking on Reyes as early as possible. He sees the danger that Reyes is posing to him, and he's trying to take that fight as early as he can so that Reyes has as limited of a skill set as he possibly can. I think John Jones knows what Reyes brings to the table, and he's just going to pick him apart. He's going to take away his offense, and he's going to avoid the left hand. And Reyes doesn't really have enough tools to corral John or set up a trap for John to get hit with that left hand. And if that's all he's got to finish, over 25 minutes, over 5 full rounds, he's not going to be able to get it done. He's got to clip him, and he's got to clip him early. Nick hitting on Gerald Mearshart. Good on you, man. I was on Giles on that one because seriously, like I said, gift wrapped. That should have been easy. That should have been easy work for Trevon Giles. You were donated to. Trevon Giles gave that win to you on a platter. And yeah, Jones did look great at the weigh-ins. Jones looked like a monster at the weigh-ins. Krause opened at plus 130. Casual, can you tell me where that line is? Let me jump on Best Fight Odds and see if they've got it up here. So for those of you who don't know or just tuning in, I use Best Fight Odds and SBR Odds as the two odds sources. SBR does not normally get fight odds as quickly as the other sports. They're mostly on, the big sports, basketball, college basketball, football, baseball, that kind of stuff. So the odds are never truly accurate on SBR. At least at the beginning, when they say what the opening lines were and stuff like that, they come into the game a little bit later. Best Fight Odds has the real opening lines, and you can actually click on them and see graphs of like where the money came in and stuff like that. Ryan Darrow, what's going on? Welcome to the chat. Thank you for joining me. 5 times. Oh, 5 times opened it up. Okay. Let me jump over there. Because, if the line is that short, as much as I like James Krause and I respect him here, I think the size disadvantage might get him. Because like I said, Giles came in ready to go for this one. If we can get him as a short favorite, that might be the move. I'm scrolling here. I'm looking through 5 times. Mirsad Bektik, Ige, Latifi. Where you at? James Krause, Trevon Giles. Oh, James Krause is plus 105. So if he opened up at plus 130, people are already hitting James Krause. Wow. Yeah, Nick. Jones looked like a monster. He did not take this fight lightly whatsoever. John Jones is he knows what he's got in front of him here. He knows he's got a dangerous opponent, and he said it in a couple of interviews. When he took Gustafsson lightly, that was when he made the most mistakes. That was when he almost lost his title, not because he's a worse fighter, but because he didn't expect him to be able to win. He just thought he was going to be able to wake up, roll over, and beat this kid. And he's not making that mistake again. He is in shape. He is prepared. He is ready to go. And that's why, in my opinion, you can't second guess John here. A motivated John Jones is the best fighter on the planet. An unmotivated John Jones or a Father Time, Katya John Jones, an older John Jones, he's going to get caught by somebody, and eventually it'll happen. But not a 30-year-old motivated, angry, you woke me up on the wrong side of the bed with your bullshit talk, John Jones. He's coming. He's absolutely coming. And I took the John Jones winning by decision prop. I got plus 230. I don't know. He might finish this one. That one, it's making me nervous how motivated John Jones is and how in shape he is for this one. It's scaring me a little bit. All right, so let's go. I'm looking for the next Krause fight. I do want to take a look at the last fight that he had against Sergio. That was in 2019. So I'm going to actually have to head over to my ESPN Plus account to pull that one up. Ivan, welcome to the chat. What's up? I agree with most of your points. I do feel like John Bones Jones will finish Reyes. Yeah, that was kind of, I'm scared. I've got a bet on him winning by decision because he does it so often, but I'm very concerned with him winning this one inside the distance simply because he's pissed off and motivated. There's a decent shot at him just showing Reyes who is boss and letting him know he's not ready yet. Okay, so Krause fought Moraes November 16th. UFC Fight Night 164, Blachowicz versus Jacare. There we go. Found it. I'm getting it pulled up here so we can watch that fight. 24-4. Yeah, Nick, I'm with you, man. I think Reyes will gas, and that's where, honestly, that's where John Jones likes to play with his food. I don't know if he'll really go for the finish or if he'll do what he did with Anthony Smith, which is he will make sure you know who daddy is in that cage. He will not hit you hard enough to allow you to get TKO'd, but he will just keep hitting you. I mean, it's kind of a dick move. Like, he's not going to hit you with anything hard enough to end your night or to knock you out. So he leaves you no escape. You've got to either quit or he just gets to beat you up for the last 10 minutes of the fight. That's what John does. Let's see here. Fast forwarding through, because on ESPN you get the whole damn card and you can't split it by individual fight, which, as much as I like that I can go back in the fight library here, I hate that. All right, here we go. Found it. We're getting it loaded up here. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the chat. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate the likes and the shares. If you have done so already, if you have not, please hit the like button or the subscribe button. This is our first ever live chat. We're doing this to break down the unexpected fight here. Woo! They came out with a bang. So Krause, he is looking for the ground game himself. So this is a good fight for me to take a look at because Krause might actually play the reverse role where he'll be trying to strike more so than trying to grapple, which is something that we're probably not going to see in this upcoming fight here. Let me catch up with the chat here. Krause strikes me as a cerebral fighter. Yes, very much so. He's definitely a thinker. Selective with his short notice pickups. He knows he can exploit Giles. I agree, Nick. I absolutely agree. The only thing that worries me, though, is that we might not be the only ones onto that. And with how motivated Giles is coming into this fight, with him knowing his back is against the wall, facing a guy that he's got a physical advantage of, I just don't know if it'll be enough. Full training camp, Krause versus Trevon Giles. I actually give that one to Krause pretty regularly, I think. But given the special circumstances, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. And I don't want to trust Trevon Giles with my money because of the bad fight IQ we've seen him with. We know Krause has a high fight IQ, so I'd be happy to roll the dice and take a shot on him there. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't made my mind up here. So if you're new, we're up to 14 viewers. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the thumbs up there. We are watching Moraes versus James Krause. We're going back and getting some information here to see if we want to pull the trigger on a bet with James Krause or not as a last-minute underdog. He's basically just controlling everything from bottom position, making sure Moraes can't pass. He's got a high guard here with his knee, making sure Moraes can't step over into full mount. Moraes in full side control. Let me catch up on the chat here. I think Reyes is going to be very surprised once he feels what John Jones has. Yeah, Nick, I agree. because Moraes has, good reversal. Krause, good reversal. He goes from side control bottom, reverses position, gets on top. He's now in full guard of Moraes, who Moraes is a high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. That's something to bear in mind. That's an impressive move to pull on a guy like that. One thing I wanted to ask, Clint, what mic do you use? Oh, I got the Yeti Blue. This thing is awesome. It's got a bunch of different settings on it, so it can pick up noise either in the front only. It can do a full all the way around the mic. It's got a bunch of different settings and stuff like that you can play with on it. I like it a lot. It's affordable. It's good. It's solid and good audio quality, in my opinion. Also, rocking the shirt, Die Hard MMA podcast, baby. Let's go. I'm not planning to start a pod. I am planning on starting a podcast myself. Nice. Ivan, I wish you luck, my friend. Podcasts are fun. Even if it never ends up going anywhere or doing anything, podcasts are a good time. James Krause is still just kind of floating here in top position, by the way, update on the fight. He's stuffing the head of Moraes. He's trying to get out of that guard and pass on over into side control. At this point, looks like he is just deciding to try and stand up. There's about a minute and a half left on the fight. It's mostly grappling here at this point. Kyle Jack, what's up? Welcome to the show. Welcome, my friend. And thank you, Nick. Smash the like button, everybody. It would mean the world to me. I appreciate it. Krause needs to finish by sub to avoid being robbed by the Texas judges. That is very true. That is very true. Texas is a that's a good point. I'm glad you mentioned that. Texas has been known for awful officiating, just awful officiating. And you're right, because Trevon Giles is a cop. He is the hometown boy, and he's a police officer. They will respect somebody like Krause stepping in on short notice, but with being a hometown officer of the law, you would expect he's probably going to get the nod more often than not in that type of a situation. Krause rips the body. He steps in with that hook that I like. Good to see that he's still working that game plan with a guy like Moraes. I mean, you know what? Whoever said that he's selective with his opponents, you might be onto something here, though, because he does follow this same game plan of grapple, hook to the body, grapple, hook to the body, and then just bink, 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 these little short, precise shots on the chin. It does. I know I said it earlier, but for those of you joining in a little bit later, it seems like Krause's whole game plan is centered around just draining the gas tank of his opponent, and that could work here. Ivan, oh, hell yeah. That's right. The merch is out. Unfortunately, the merch isn't available for wide purchase. I made a couple of shirts myself so I can wear them around and advertise for myself on the show. I'm hoping we get to the point very soon that I'll have a big enough of a following to start dropping merchandise. I've actually got a really sick shirt design that I really like that I want to drop and have available for purchase, but we're not quite there yet. Things are still getting going here in 2020. I'm hoping to get up to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. We're getting close to 500. We're almost halfway there, which is going to be great. So we're starting round 2 here. Krause he's kind of conceding the center of the octagon here, and now he takes it. There we go. He steps forward. He's pressuring. He sticks his long jab out there, just kind of popping Moraes in the face, and then he goes to the body. He rips the body. He's always got that right hand up by his chin, protecting on the outside. Good head movement, ducks just out of the way. He's got really sharp eyes. He's got good timing. He doesn't eat a whole lot of shots. Now, I know that Moraes is not a phenomenal striker, but he still had that same type of head movement and defensive striking capability against Warley Alves and Alex White. White was able to hit him a little more often, but that was in January of 2018. So a couple of years ago. His striking seems to have improved since then. I might bet Krause by sub and hedge Giles by decision. That's not a bad option. I mean, those are probably the two most likely outcomes to this fight. I don't think that Giles will be able to knock a guy like Krause out. He's only been knocked out once in his career, if I recall correctly. Let me take a look back how far that was. Bobby Green. He got knocked out. Bobby Green, 2013, kick to the body. That was the last time he got KO'd, and it looks like that was a TKO. So yeah, Trevon Giles may have a hard time finding the chin and knocking him out. So Giles by decision may be a good place to hedge there. That's right. That's right, Ivan. I got to put that artist glove on. Yes, actually, before I got started doing all this stuff, I've been an artist basically my whole life. I went to art school wanting to be a character artist for video games. So I am a 3D sculptor. I've done a whole lot of 3D sculpting and 3D printing, and I've ran some Kickstarters, and I'm a complete nerd. So I've made a whole bunch of like miniature figurines for people that do tabletop gaming and monsters, creatures, and stuff like that for people to 3D print. Krause engages here in a little bit of the striking. He's leaning in with that jab. He never seems to overextend. He's got a good low calf kick. That's interesting. Nick, like an Ige, huh, man? I don't know. I think this is a recency bias spot, my guy. I think everybody forgot just how good Bektik is. And Ige is running, I will give you that, but he hasn't fought anybody at the level of competition of a guy like Mirsad Bektik. So it's a good spot where he's stepping up in competition, but it's also a step down in competition for a guy like Mirsad. And Mirsad's got a good training camp around him. He's up north, TriStar. He's training up at TriStar, and his wrestling offense, good knee to the body by Krause. He just steps in and banks Marias with a knee. There we go. Marias starts dropping to his back and doing the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm just going to lay down thing. Come on, play the ground game with me because he is pretty worn out. I like that step-in knee. That was good. After the weigh-ins, I saw something. I think, if you go for Ige, good luck, man. He's a live dog. He's good for sure. I've got no disrespect for Ige whatsoever. I just think this is a bounce back spot for Marias, and I think it's also a dog spot where everybody's seeing the tear that Ige is on, and they're wanting to jump on board. Everybody saw that Bektik got knocked out in his last fight. I don't think that Ige has the power that what's his name had. I forgot who's the guy that knocked out Bektik. You all know who I'm talking about. I can see his face in my head, but I can't remember his name off the top. I don't know why. John Jones does not seem like a solid bet, in my opinion. Oh, okay. All right. Thoughts on Andrea Lee versus Miles Johns parlay. So, Julian, first off, welcome to the chat. Thanks for jumping in. Hey, thanks for the likes and thumbs up, everybody. We got 18 viewers now. I appreciate it. So, I have Alex Morono parlayed with Andrea KGB Lee. I'm playing Miles Johns straight. I do like Miles Johns as a bet. He's coming from Fortis MMA. This is a showcase spot for that whole gym, and he's got the wrestling ability. I think he's got a decent chance of striking well with his opponent. He's fast, he's explosive, he's got good hands, and then he'll just be able to grind on him on the mat. And I think that's something that he'll just be able to grind out a decision that way. So I would play John straight so that he doesn't bust that parlay. Like I said, I've got Morono and KGB in a parlay myself. They're both Texas native, was help with the judging, correct. Bektik is a scary mofo. That's right, Kyle Jack. He is. Especially, did you see him take his shirt off? Dude's ripped. He is ripped. Ivan Clint, answer my previous question, please. Sorry, let me roll back there, Ivan, and see what's going on. Johns does not seem like a solid bet, in my opinion. Is that the one you're talking about? Johns. Which Johns? Do you mean John Jones? Or is there another Johns? Sorry. Again, first time going live, everybody, so sorry, bear with me here. Miles Johns, there we go, Miles Johns versus Mario Bautista. Oh yeah, I kind of broke that down. I'm on Miles Johns. I like Miles Johns here. I think Bautista is flashy, but he gives up the takedown. I think Miles Johns will be able to hit the takedown, and he'll be able to grind out at least 2 of the 3 rounds, as long as he doesn't get clipped by a big knee or something like that, which Bautista does have in his arsenal. It's a close fight, but I like Johns. T-Wolf splashing yesterday. Ige's a neck stealer. I like that. Both main and co-main go to decision. I agree with that. Main and co-main going to decision. Absolutely. That's why I've got Johns by decision plus 230. I think you can get almost even money on Shevchenko by decision. Did you guys see the money that came in against Shevchenko? Holy cow. If you look at the sports books, she was like minus 14, minus 1,500, and now she's like minus 800 in places. Some people are hammering Chukagian. Not sure why. And Skoll, that's right. Sinoja beats my guy. So Tafa, he's live here. Definitely. I've got too much invested from a fan perspective here. I like Juan Adams. I like him a lot as a person. I hope he does well. And you can't mix that with betting. So I'm completely passing on this fight because I recognize that I am biased here. I feel like the line might be a little bit wide, but Juan Adams has every skill in the book to get this fight done. He absolutely can and should win this fight, in my opinion. But Tafa did go out to Tiger Muay Thai and had a hell of a training camp coming into this thing. If he took it seriously and cranked it up a notch, he's got that power. there's that chance that he can land on the button. But Juan Adams came in good shape. He came in much better shape than anybody else. And there we go. Emmett, thank you. Josh Emmett. Emmett's the one that dropped Mersad with a jab, Nick. You're correct. However, Emmett has like ungodly power at 145. The dude hits way harder than he should be allowed to. So I don't look too much into that. Posted on the chat. Twitter with Clint. I like it. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it, my friend. And the question on whether or not I could print your design on a shirt and spread the good word. Oh, Ivan, thank you for that. So I appreciate the offer, my friend, but I'm probably going to put out a shirt or something like that myself. So I would prefer if you didn't. I mean, I can't stop you from, jumping on Photoshop or something like that and making yourself a shirt, obviously. But I would prefer if you didn't sell it so that, at some point I can release a merch line of my own. Let's see here. I want more people to hammer on Chukagian. Gonna make my parlays better. Correct. Yeah. If you're going to sit tight and get a better price and throw Shevchenko in there on pretty much anything, yeah, for sure. Don't know about you guys, but I have a plan. Anything more than plus 600 for the fun of it. Yeah, that's fair, Kyle. And good on you for hitting on Roxanne Modafferi. That was one that I'm still kicking myself for. I'm the biggest fan of Roxanne Modafferi, and I completely sold her short in that fight. If anyone was going to bet Roxanne Modafferi and bet her seriously, not just like, I'll put $10 on her, but bet like a full unit on her or something like that, it should have been me. But I truly did not believe that she was going to be able to stand up to the future. Macy Barber just absolutely crushed me the last time I bet against her, and I think I had some recency bias against her because of that. We got to wonder how much that knee came into place, though, because if that torn knee doesn't happen, maybe she manages to get herself back in that fight. But Roxy looked like she was controlling it pretty well, and those trip takedowns were landing a whole lot more than I expected them to. Chukagian's not on Bullet's level. Correct. Absolutely. 3 levels below. I agree. She's going to stick and move. She's going to run around, and that's the only way that she can win this fight. She doesn't have power. She's got no way of ending this thing by knockout, and she's nowhere near her level on the mat. She will get crushed on the ground. So I don't see any way Chukagian wins this fight unless she keeps it at distance and avoids every single shot that Shevchenko throws and somehow razor thin squeaks out a split decision. I don't see how it happens. Valentina and Jones parlayed. Yep. You've been all over Valentina and Jones, Nick. I'm all about that. I know you were on that hard, my man. And that's right. I do love Roxy. All right, Ivan. No sweat, man. No sweat. I didn't think you were going to do anything like that. I was just making sure everybody else heard my opinion on it. But it's one of those things. If you want to make yourself a shirt so you can rep the Die Hard family sooner, go right ahead. At this point, I don't have shirts to sell, so I can't. I definitely can't sell them. And once I'm ready to, I'd appreciate if you snagged one from me. But if you want to make yourself a shirt, I'd love that. That'd be awesome. Spread the word, my friend. Thank you. Head kick, but next to 0 chance, Kyle. That's right. Okay, so there is the TKO with 40 seconds left on the clock. Sorry, I know I wasn't commentating the fight like I said that I would, but Krause lands the TKO with 40 seconds left, and it was bad. I mean, the reason I was focusing more on the chat, interacting with you guys rather than, commentating the fight to you is because there just wasn't a whole lot going on. Marias was like flopping to his back and really just trying to entice Krause to come on down and jump into his guard. And Krause was popping him with the jab, just absolutely precision striking with the jab. And Marias just flopping until the ref finally mercifully stepped in and saved him. So here's the thing. James Krause has precision, accurate striking. He can bank on the chin very, very well. However, he doesn't appear to have the power that I would like him to have to step up against a guy like Trevon Giles. Maybe he comes in with the game plan of I'm going to go balls out here because he is aware that he's not going to have a full training camp behind him. He's not going to have that big of a gas tank. Woof. That line is moving, folks. I just refreshed over on 5 dimes, and now James Krause is minus 130. You can get Trevon Giles at minus 115. So they've got the fight goes the distance, minus 160. Fight will not go the distance, plus 120. And believe it or not, I am very tempted to bet Trevon Giles here. I'm probably going to sit tight. I'm probably going to sit tight because the flood of money coming in on James Krause right now has me thinking that we are going to get dog money on Trevon Giles. And Trevon Giles being the much larger athlete here, he's going to have a full training camp behind him. He looks in great shape. He knows the mistakes he made last time. Whew, man, this, you know what? It's unfortunate. This one might end up just being a pass. I'm going to have to see where this line settles. I don't want to bet James Krause at like a minus 150 line. I think that's wrong, especially coming in on 1 day's short notice. As much as I like James Krause, he is 33 years old. Trevon Giles is the younger fighter. Like I said, I believe Trevon Giles has stepped it up for this fight, but that's also just me speculating. And I can't bring myself to bet on Trevon Giles. He is too much of a wild card as far as his fight IQ is concerned. He does not do what he needs to do when he needs to do it. And that's the best way I can describe that. So if James Krause gets out there and decides to play with him on the feet, I think Trevon Giles can outstrike him. Trevon Giles can. So what I saw with James Krause and Alex White is that at range, with a long, rangy striker who's just as accurate and effective as Krause is, which Trevon Giles is, in my opinion, he can lose on the feet. Trevon Giles has fast hands. He's got a long reach. You know what? Let me check the physical stats here. I want to jump over here to my UFC stats page, and I want to see exactly how long of a reach we're talking about here and who has the advantage. I would expect Trevon Giles probably has a slight reach advantage if it's not even. Trevon Giles. There you are. All right. Trevon Giles is 6 feet. He's got a 74-inch reach. He averages 3.25 significant strikes per minute, and he only absorbs 1.36 significant strikes per minute. That speaks to how well he outstrikes his opponents, and then also being on top and landing when we're in grappling situations. He's got a 100% takedown accuracy, which that would be interesting to see if he was able to get on top of James Krause, because Krause is dangerous, but it seems like he's really only dangerous when he's on top or he gets your back. He submitted Darren Cruikshank with a rear naked choke. He got a guillotine on Sam Stout, but that was all the way back in 2013. He's mostly been working people on the feet, it looks like, at this point. Trevon Giles does have a 72% takedown defense, so if he follows the game plan of striking like he damn well should in this case, he probably has a good chance here. So James Krause is 6'2", 73-inch reach, so Trevon Giles does have a 1-inch reach advantage here. He averages 4.83 significant strikes per minute, absorbing 4.02. So much more active than Trevon Giles, which we've seen on the tape. But he does get hit a whole lot more, with Trevon Giles being able to outstrike his opponents like he does. But this is definitely a big step up in competition. James Krause has a whole lot more experience. Wow. I'm like talking myself into a pass here. I came on and I wanted to solidify my opinion that I should bet James Krause as a dog. People beat me to it. Now he's the favorite. And now I am talking myself into a straight up pass because I think that Trevon Giles might actually win this damn thing. Come on, the fight was legit bad. James was waiting too much to finish Moraes. Correct. Ivan, correct. I took James Krause inside the distance against Sergio Moraes, and I didn't think I was going to cash that bet. I thought he was going to let him survive to see the judges' scorecards, and Moraes had nothing in round 3. James Krause could have finished that fight in round 2, and he didn't. He let him survive, and in round 3, Moraes had nothing whatsoever, and it took James Krause until the last 40 seconds to get it done, and if it wasn't for Moraes flopping the way that he did, the referee's the one that stepped in and ended the fight. So James Krause didn't like crush his skull. And then again, he got the standing KO against Warley Alves. He was kind of swarming him, and Warley again kind of looked like he gassed out. Wow. Guys, we might be betting Trevon Giles. We might be betting Trevon Giles. All right, Ivan, I'm glad to hear you and I are on the same page, my guy. Nick, I said kind of at the beginning of the show that I think that this is something that'll open up much later. 5 Dimes, props on them to getting out early, but most of the books are not going to be able to pivot that quickly. So wherever you are going to be able to bet at, I'll bet you it'll be a prior to fight time type of thing. I'm not sure if you bet online or like at a local casino or something, but with late replacement fights like this, the lines don't usually come out that quickly. And that's kind of why I wanted to do my research right away, because I didn't expect to have the opportunity to bet on him nearly as quickly as apparently we are. So go 5 dimes. But yeah, I wanted to make sure I knew where my head was at when that line came out, so I knew if I wanted to smash it or not. Yep, line's not out yet. To me, Giles versus Krause has to be a pass, short notice. Passive fighter versus bad fight IQ. No weight cut for James. So all red flags. Ivan, that's correct. Who's the favorite? Nick. Trevon Giles opened up as a slight favorite on 5 dimes, and money has already poured in on Krause, making him the favorite. Now he is a slight favorite, minus 130, minus 110. Depending on the price, you may not like this, but may have to go on the over. Ooh, yeah, Kyle, good call, my guy. The over actually sounds great here because Trevon Giles always goes to decision or makes it at least to the third round when he coughs up the end. So, you know what? Actually, I don't think we're going to get that good of a price on the over, though. I mean, yes, I agree. It should go over. Go to decision is minus 160, it looks like. And the thing with that is I would rather take the over 2.5 simply because we have seen Trevon Giles shit the bed in the last 2 minutes of a fight before. So I wouldn't mind keeping that one in my back pocket. But with both these guys being decision machines, we're probably going to get a bad line as far as the over is concerned. Yeah, I'm sorry, Ivan. You know, the chat isn't so bad. It's also the fact that I'm monitoring things, I'm watching tape, I'm researching the fight as we're doing this. So I'm not responding immediately when you guys are chatting, and that's partially my fault. So I do apologize for the delayed responses. This is my first time going live for the Die Hard MMA podcast like this, so I'm sorry about that. If Giles hits dog money, I'm betting him. You know what? I'm kind of with you there, Nick. I'm kind of with you there. I want to see where this line goes, simply because of the fact that this is a late notice fight for Krause. He may not have the reliable gas tank that we're used to seeing, simply because this being a late notice for James Krause, we can't expect to see exactly the best fighter that we have seen. And even though he did TKO Moraes and Warley Alves, both of those guys are bad gas tank fighters. We see that constantly. And he didn't really finish either of them. So the striking game against Giles, he's going to have a whole lot harder of a time implementing that same striking game against Giles. Also, the grappling game, Giles is not a bad grappler. He's an elite athlete, and he's going to be the bigger, stronger guy here. So I don't know if James Krause is going to have the opportunity to push him up against the cage the way that he does. This might be a spot. If that line flips, if we get dog money, this might be the spot to roll the dice on Trevon Giles. Didn't think it would be that low, though, for decision. Yeah. Sorry, Kyle. Correct. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. It'd be fun to do more live shows, man. It would be. I would be very, very open to doing more live shows like this if we get more views and we get more people jumping in on it. I would love to do this kind of thing. I'll have to practice. I'm just very, very green at doing live here at the moment, so I'm just not used to it. It's also hard to do when you guys can't see what I'm looking at. So like right now with me watching the fights and just kind of narrating it to you, that's fine. But I wouldn't be able to do that for a full fight card. You know, I sit back and I grab something to eat and I grab something to drink and I just chill when I do my fight tape study because it takes so damn long. It's multiple days of tape study for me to be able to get where I need to cover a card. So it would be fun to do something like this. And I thought about it with like, if I decided to do a Patreon or something like that, I could do an invite only or, you know, a certain subscriber level only. Like if you support the podcast, you can join me for this kind of a chat and breakdown and analysis of the fights, that kind of thing. Definitely something I've thought of looking forward. So I appreciate it, Nick. I appreciate the feedback. All right. Well, guys, we are about at an hour, 59 minutes. Thank you all for jumping in and joining me. We hit a high water mark, I think, of like 16, 17 people. So that'll do. I appreciate you guys jumping in on me. So in conclusion, what I'm thinking here is that if this line flips, if we get Trevon Giles as a dog, I may end up pulling the trigger. Give me a follow at Die Hard MMA Pod on the Twitters, which I know most of you guys in the chat already are. That's kind of the move I'm planning on making at this point. I wanted to bet James Krause if he was going to be a disrespected underdog, if he was going to be about plus 160, plus 170, something like that, I'd be all over James Krause in this fight. However, if the line flips, I think this is a really good spot for Trevon Giles. And 1 day short notice fighters, I don't have the stats for that, but I got to feel like they don't have a very good record as far as wins goes, just because no camp, no time to train, no nothing. He happened to be there. He was cornering somebody else and said, F it, I'll jump in. I don't know if you're going to be able to implement as good of a game as you'd like. And he may go balls out. If he goes balls out, he's a dangerous caged animal at that point. But that'll also lead to him potentially getting caught and or gassing out. And we know the hand speed that Giles brings to the table, with Giles' ability to wrestle as well. While I think James will be able to gas him out and then make him make a mistake, if Trevon Giles is the one who ends up being on top rather than being the one on bottom, I don't know if he's going to gas. He might be able to be the one who controls it and then wins a boring decision. Look, dear diehards, feels like a pass to me still. Better safe than sorry. Ivan, you're correct. You are correct. Thank you very much for tuning into the show, man. I appreciate it. So yeah, that's the recap right there. And you might be right. This may just be a pass. We have to see where this line goes. For now, I'm sitting tight. For now, I'm not doing anything. I'm not pulling the trigger on anything. It does feel like a pass. It is a pass. But if that line gets wide enough, then I will bet Trevon Giles. I don't see it flipping back the other way. I don't see enough money coming in on Trevon Giles to push James Krause to being a dog where I would want him to be to actually bet him. If that happens, I would for sure. Basically, I think it's going to be a close fight, but I do think Trevon Giles ends up getting it done. I thought he would more than likely get it done against Antonio here. James Krause is a black belt, so he is dangerous on the mat, but he doesn't have a whole lot of submission wins, and I don't expect him to be able to snag a submission off his back against Trevon Giles. I also don't think he'll be able to clip and hurt Trevon Giles the way that a guy like Zach Cummings did. So yeah, probably a pass, maybe a dog bet on Trevon Giles. Hey, Ivan, thanks for the invite, man. If you get your podcast rolling, I would love to. I'd absolutely love to. That'd be cool. The only problem is my schedule is brutal. I do have a full-time day job, and I am I'm a husband and a father, so I spend as much time as I can with my kid, and then I got to prep and do all the tape study and stuff for my podcast. So I have a very limited window as far as when I can join people for things like that. But if we're able to match up, if we're able to get our schedules linked up, I would absolutely love to come on your show. I'd love that. That'd be great. Completely random thought. Ever thought about getting a TikTok? Organic growth is so crazy. Some cool MMA content. No, Kyle, I did not think about that, but not a bad idea. I mean, TikTok is kind of all the rage right now. I'll need to look into that. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate the suggestion. I'm definitely looking to expand the show and get as many followers as I can. So new forms of social media are always good for that. And TikTok does seem to be the one that's kind of trending right now. So all right, I will check it out, Kyle. Thank you very much, my friend. All right, thank you, diehards. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Hit the like button, smash that thumbs up if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already. If you've got any other questions, this was fun. We'll do this again. I loved answering your questions in real time, but if you do have any questions, hit me up on Twitter, and let's keep an eye on this line where it goes, because Trevon Giles might just be the side. Let's roll.